nonprofits as we speak as to right-sizing our fleet. I think that just makes sense. It was his idea. He campaigned on it. That just makes sense. It makes sense for the nonprofits. It makes sense for the city of Pittsburgh and its constituents that they put money into our fleet. I think they're more than willing to do it and want to do it. On top of that, we have a lot of foundations in the city of Pittsburgh, unlike Atlanta's and Miami's.
Yeah.
We have a lot of old money here, foundation-based community that Pittsburgh is. And yes, tapping into them. I know my personal talks with the mayor, he's going to do that in many fronts and as many fronts as he can in order to help the city of Pittsburgh out because they want to help out.
Well, this is the thing. We talk about Pittsburgh as if it's kind of a poor city in the terms of the resources to do public services. And there's a lot of truth to that in the sense of, the economy has been, certainly the demography, the population has been stagnant, growing a little bit. But regionally, we've actually been lapped by Detroit and Cleveland and Cincinnati over the past, since COVID especially. And yet it's also actually quite a rich city in terms of just the amount of resources that are out there, especially institutional resources. And for reasons that are complicated and I haven't fully understood yet, we've actually had a really hard time getting all of these institutions to row in the same direction.
It really comes down to communicating, Brandon.
Yeah.
Our Mayor Gainey, like him or dislike him, did not do a very good job at that.
Yeah.
When you decide to take on the biggest nonprofits in the city, certainly, if not in the world, and take them to task and try to sue them and try to make them pay up,
right.
Pay their fair share, as they say, I don't think that's the right approach. I think we need to treat them like partners. They are partners. They're based in the city of Pittsburgh. They live here. Their workers live here. We have to start treating them like partners. I believe Mayor O'Connor is going down the right path.
And I will say, I think the ball's in their court now, though, because you went through Luke Ravenstahl sued UPMC, and then Bill Peduto said this wasn't working, and then Ed Gainey started suing UPMC, but in an even less effective way, going after individual properties. I mean, they sued over, or they challenged the nonprofit status of Children's Hospital. Like, this is the kind of thing that was going on. It was very scattershot, and it didn't have any real positive effect. But the ball is in the court now, I think, of the UPMCs and the Highmarks, because they've got through all of that, and now they need to get their own act together, in my view, because one of the things that we hear is that they'll all say, we're on board, we'll totally do it, but they need to be on board too. And at a level that is mutually agreeable. And this is where mayoral leadership, I think, is essential, because if left to their own devices, they can keep playing these games for decades. But somebody needs to get them in a room together and say, this is where we're going to nail down a solution right now.
Yep, you're correct. I've spoken to the big nonprofits myself, and you're right. One doesn't want to go without the other one on board. Yeah. This mayor is going to get them all on board, I believe. And you're right. The ball's going to be in their court. I think the city is now treating them like a partner versus an enemy of some sort, like the past administrations have. And let me just say, it has not been fruitful trying to take them to court. It has cost us more money than we've gotten.
That's true. So, yeah, cost us more money in legal fees. And that's not even counting the time of our lawyers. That's just the outside legal fees. That it cost us more than we got in taxes. I mean, I remember when I was working on this issue at the PG, and I would be in my office just laughing because it was so, and the challenges that they were making against buildings like Children's Hospital, I couldn't believe it. I triple checked just to make sure, but it was amateur hour.
Yeah. The only thing that we were able to get residual from tax, the nonprofits paying taxes on, were a couple of parking lots.
Yeah.
And that's it. Their attorneys are very good at what they do. We're through fighting them. I believe, the next few years will show that having a cooperative, relationship with the nonprofits is going to be very fruitful for the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm hopeful as well. I think that's where we're going. And I'd like to see, you mentioned foundations. Traditionally Pittsburgh has one of the most civically active corporate communities in America, and that has changed just structurally because all the big companies are now basically global companies, And I don't want to pick on anybody in particular, but it's the nature of the economy now. So to the extent that we can bring the companies that have their names on the tall buildings downtown, and lots of others that are huge companies that fly under the radar, to the extent that they can be brought to the table, and whether it's by the mayor, and I think the county executive has a role to play here as well. I mean, I know that Sarah Innamorato, she campaigned as a very left-wing candidate, but her actual administration has been much more pragmatic, and we have two really young leaders right now in Corey and Sarah. It seems like there should be potential for the kind of city-county cooperation that has also, been a difficulty for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good point, Brandon. I will tell you, I didn't know what to make of Sarah Innamorato when she first came into office, but I'll tell you, I'm very impressed with her leadership ability.
I almost never have a conversation with somebody who says, "Oh, right. Yeah, she's been a total disaster." Yeah. Like that's and even the tax increase I thought was handled in a way that was effective and responsible.
No, absolutely. I think she's doing a really good job. I think she's going to be the county executive providing she wants to be for years to come. And I do believe that she and our mayor have a really good relationship. In fact, I know they have a really good relationship. And you're right. Putting those two heads together, those two leaders together, and dealing whether it's with the corporate world, the nonprofit world in the city of Pittsburgh, is going to prove to be very fruitful for us.
I don't think it's Sarah's natural instinct to go out and court big companies to come to the city, and that's fine. But I think it could be Corey's.
Oh yeah,
they can complement each other.
There is no question that is on Corey's mind. He wants to attract development, he wants to attract business, and let's face it, any major city, you need the population to grow. We need thriving businesses. Most of all, they need to be safe and clean, and that's going to be his number one priority. So
and that's this is what today's conversation after the snow is all about. It is hard in a city of 300,000 people with several thousand miles of roads. What is it? How many miles of roads do they have to do? It's a lot.
A lot.
It's not several thousand, but it's a lot of miles of roads and very hilly terrain. It is a hard task, but it's even harder when the equipment is supposed to do it's breaking down. So we'll keep going on this after the break. Yep. Sounds good, Marty. I appreciate
Brandon McGinley and Anthony Coghill next, brothers and sisters, live. Hey, folks, it's Marty. My friends at MediConnect tell me between now and March 31st, they are in an open enrollment period for Medicare. It's confusing. If you have any questions about your current coverage or your benefits, now's the time to take a look. Could a new 5-star plan work better? Are you overpaying with prescriptions or other copays? 888-818-6334. MediConnect is local. They've got experts. They'll guide you through Medicare. No cost, no obligation. 888-818-6334.
Come with me to get my Invisalign. They walked me through everything I needed to know. How long it'll take, how it works, and what to expect. Then it was time for the real part. They put on the attachments, they blend in with my teeth, they help the aligners grip your teeth and move them the right way. It felt a little weird at first, but honestly, not bad at all. They popped in my first set of aligners, showed me how to take them out, and that was it. I'm officially part of the Invisalign Club. I even wore them at a football game, super comfortable and easy to talk with. For someone who's always filming on the sidelines or covering sports nonstop, this fits my lifestyle perfectly.
Warm up your home this winter with a brand new roof from Home Genius Exteriors. Call now and get 50% off all roofing materials plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. And for a limited time, you can get free attic insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-UR-GENIUS for your free, no obligation roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, the genius choice in roofing. See website for details.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide, our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Hey folks, winter is here. For many of our neighbors, staying warm is not guaranteed. Local families, seniors, and many in need are struggling to keep their heat on. You can help by supporting Dollar Energy Fund during the Warmathon. Every donation goes directly towards helping someone maintain utility services so they can stay warm in their home this winter. Just one gift can make all the difference. Give warmth, give hope. Donate now at warmathon.com because no one should have to face winter in the cold.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Light snow and 14 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 1:30. I'm Paul Alexander. Pennsylvania Turnpike officials tested a new super plow this weekend to tackle heavy snow and ice and gives an update on how it performed. News Radio KDKA's Tamira Rush has the details.
Turnpike spokeswoman Marissa Urbanic tells KDKA Radio the new equipment had the perfect opportunity to be put into action to help clear highways during Sunday's snowstorm.
And it successfully cleared over 300 miles during this last storm over the weekend. So it was very efficient.
I asked Urbanic if there are plans to extend the use of the super plow across more stretches of the Turnpike or even on city or county roads.
So it will remain on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We're just hoping that we can really utilize it in all different locations and conditions to really test out the efficiency.
She says the super plow was tested in Somerset County because of its heavy snowfall and could be moved to other areas for future storms. But for now, only one is in service. Tamira Rush, News Radio KDKA.
Giant Eagle says freezing temperatures and delivery challenges may lead to some temporary gaps on store shelves. Spokesman Dan Donovan says shipments are arriving daily.
If the item you're looking for isn't in a given store in a given moment, know that we have deliveries going to our stores daily. So if you do find yourself on the road again, or if you did visit a store, but then you're going to go try to shop online later, know that we're restocking shelves as fast as we can.
Donovan says Giant Eagle is prepared to serve customers and meet their needs even in these challenging conditions. Attorney General Dave Sunday and the Bureau of Consumer Protection want you to beware of scammers who swoop in after major storms. They have some tips for you. Verify any potential contractor is legitimate. Get references. Ask for proof of insurance. Read all contracts thoroughly and retain a copy for yourself. Watch for scammers claiming to be from your utility company. They will try to obtain your personal or banking information. When paying a stranger, use your credit card. They have built-in protection. Avoid social media advertisements. Deals that sound too good to be true usually are. Slow down. Question the situation. Never rush into a payment. Taking a moment to verify if something is true could save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 501 points, and NASDAQ up 219. The S&P 500 up 28 points. KDK Radio News Time, 1:32. Our next update at 2 o'clock. I'm Paul Alexander on the Voice of Pittsburgh News Radio, KDKA.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
At AHN, we see you juggling 100 things at once. That's why we made it easier to book with the doctors you need. With AHN online scheduling, you can book with your primary care provider or get time with a specialist. Visit ahn.org/schedule, answer a couple of simple questions, and search for providers, locations, and times that work best for you. Easy online scheduling. Because at AHN, we see you.
A senior citizen sent me a note that they couldn't afford the nursing home they were in, and they were going to be charged exorbitant fees. Sent it to Julian Gray. He got in the middle of it, worked out a deal, got them into a better place. Julian Gray just set up an entire estate plan for myself and my entire family. They take care of your life right now and your estate right now. Julian Gray, grayelderlaw.com. 412-458-6000, the best.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
You buy 4 windows, you get 4 free. You get $1,000 off your entire project and 0% interest for 60 months. You can spread out the payments. 412-545-6003, Universal Windows Direct.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
A cold weather advisory from 7 this evening through 11 a.m. tomorrow. This afternoon will be rather cloudy, breezy, and frigid with intermittent snow and flurries. There can be a fresh dusting to an inch, enough to cause some slippery spots. Our high 17. AccuWeather real field temperatures not far from 0. For AccuWeather, I'm Joe Lundberg, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
This is attorney Christine Brown-Murphy with the law firm of Zachariah Brown. If you have a loved one in a nursing home, we need to talk. Give our office a call at 724-942-6200 or visit our website at pittsburghelderlaw.com.
Are you turning 65 and have questions about Medicare? Aetna has Medicare Advantage plans that include prescription drug coverage in Pennsylvania with a $0 monthly plan premium. Plus, the plans include benefits like dental, vision, and hearing. You may also qualify for a monthly credit toward your Part B premium. Call Aetna today at 1-888-76-AETNA to learn more.
Aetna Medicare is an HMO PPO plan with a Medicare contract. Our D-SNPs also have contracts with state Medicaid programs. Enrollment in our plans depends on contract renewal. Plan features and availability may vary by service area.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us tomorrow in the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. We'll have the KDK Radio Storm Center open, dealing with extreme temperatures and the dig out, plus what Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy had to say.
Alrighty, welcome back. This is Brandon McGinley from the Post-Gazette, filling in for Marty this hour. And I have with me Anthony Coghill, Pittsburgh City Councilman from the South Hills. And I want to talk about, we talked a lot about government, we talk about all the big institutions, but I want to talk about neighbors helping neighbors, because that's the Pittsburgh way. It is, as much of a hassle as this snow can be, it does give people an opportunity to go out and do something that's community-oriented. And one of the things the city offers is a Snow Angels program. And I heard, 150 new signups? It sounds like it's really picking up. So can you tell us more?
Yeah, no, this Snow Angels has been very, very successful. And again, it sheds light on the people of Pittsburgh as to who we are. I was actually out on Snow Angel calls yesterday myself in coordination with the command center that Mayor O'Connor set up.
Great.
They would be contacting me because they know I have 4-wheel drive. The problem was a lot of Snow Angels couldn't get to their jobs yesterday.
Yeah.
You almost had to walk. But so I was getting Snow Angel reports or requests, and I would go there with a couple of my roofing crew, and we would just help them out, dig them out. And, it's really inspiring, Brandon. I mean, it's not only the city of Pittsburgh providing that service, but, neighbors would come. I would get a call for somebody that needed dug out, an elderly person and needed to get to the doctors and needed really just to break the ice between the end of the driveway and the roadway.
Oh, yeah.
And dig their car out, actually. And so we did a lot of that yesterday, but I would get to some of the calls and it would be like, oh, my neighbor just did it, or my neighbors just did it. So I saw our firefighters were out there in force digging people out.
Yep.
Neighbors were helping. And, of course, there was armies of kids going around, which, endless amount of
I know about
revenue
armies
they
of
could have
kids.
So, that's where I would have been if I were 12 or 13 years old, making money.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, that's something that, it's a classic. It's a classic, rite of passage for kids. And I love that the city offers this opportunity, and I love that it gives kids an opportunity to get out there and do a little, entrepreneurship and stretch their muscles. And I know, my 10-year-old was asking about starting to do it because in the past I said, hey, why don't you go out, just knocking doors. He doesn't, the work, I don't know if the work, I think he'd get into it. The thing that makes him nervous, and I get it because I was that way when I was his age, is the knocking on doors. Yeah. It's the greeting a stranger and not being sure how to talk to them.
Right. Well, tell him not to be afraid of that, Brandon, because I will tell you, people welcome you open arms when they see a shovel in your hands. Yesterday, I will tell you. So people were trying to flag me down and flag these kids down, and it almost comes to you. You almost don't even have to hustle for it. It is great exercise, I will tell you. I was out for about 8 hours yesterday and I'm feeling it today. But no, and even through our command center, we could help kids. If there are kids out there, little entrepreneurs that are willing to, shovel a walk for $20 or whatever, that could be part of the Snow Angels program. Not that it's for free through the city services, but, get them in contact and hooked up with kids that are willing to go out there and hustle and make a few bucks.
No, that's great. That's great. I mean, I think, I've long said that for all, and we could talk about PPS, and I'm sure we will talk about PPS at some point. We could talk about the lack of resources, but I still think that there is, especially this time of year, there's something special about kids in the city and having those opportunities to serve their neighbors and to get out there. Speaking of school, by the way, I really don't like when they say that there's too much snow to go to school, but we're going to make you learn from home. I mean, one of the best things growing up was having a snow day where you could go out and enjoy yourself. And man, we know from during COVID that it doesn't work. Like the remote schooling for this is something I talk with colleagues all the time. We're going to put your 5-year-old in front of a screen to learn your ABCs when it's too snowy, or in PPS in the summer it's too hot or whatever. And we know it doesn't work. It takes something away from kids that is like one of the best memory making things you can have, a great snow day. And it puts parents in a bad situation because they often have to go to work. And I'm just ranting at this point. But I mean, what do you think?
Brandon, I couldn't agree more with you. I'm one that really hasn't adapted to the modern digital world. We had our online meeting this morning for city council. I skipped out on. I just don't feel it's as fruitful. Now, if there's an important vote, I get on.
Sure.
But I need to be in person. And to what you said about kids, really, I think there's more education sending them outside, playing with their friends and digging, making igloos and sled riding.
Oh, yeah.
It's social. It's socially, they need that in their lives.
Yeah.
And to be stuck behind a computer at home all day when you could be out, making forts and...
No, that's it. So we homeschool, and so we still did some school during the day, but my son came back last night after dark, and he had gone down to Brookline Park, and he told me all about it. It wasn't just a fort. It's like a whole World War I fortification system with watchtowers and trenches.
Tunnels, all kind of crazy.
Yeah. And he said it was in case any girls showed up so that they could pummel them, classic. And then he and his buddies walked up the boulevard to Fox's Pizza, and they got a big big pepperoni pizza, and that's the kind of thing that I think it's a part of growing up. It's a part of education, and it's a kind of thing that it can't be taught in any other way than experiencing it.
That social interaction is so valuable, I believe. More so than sitting behind a computer learning whether it's math or anything else that day. That to me is most important. And I think that's what kids lack today, right? My wife or my girlfriend of 30 years, Lisa, and I, we laugh all the time. We'll call a restaurant and they don't even use their name when the younger kids,
sure.
The social skills I feel have gone to pot because of the media and digital age.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a lot of our friends, we had a landline for a while and it stopped working, and we're going to try to get it started up again. But almost all of our friends have landlines, and so the kids can you don't have to worry about them being on their phones and doing who knows what. They can just literally pick up the phone and call their friends, and so they're learning classic phone etiquette, and they're. I mean, I grew up with the classic millennial phone anxiety. And I kind of had to get over it when I took the job at the Post-Gazette because I'm on the phone all the time now. But I love seeing kids who don't have that because it's just normal to them.
What I lack in computer skills, I make up tenfold in phone skills and one-on-one skills. When I started my business 30 years ago, it was all about the phone.
Yeah.
You better have good phone skills. So, and today it's missing. And good phone skills are really good personal skills,
yeah.
right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's just a matter of introducing yourself, telling the person who you are. We're always aghast when we call a restaurant, try to make reservations, and the young man or woman, they don't even give us their name. You know, they're like, hello?
Right,
And I'm like,
right, yes.
well, like, hello?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the digitalization of everything, I think has, obviously there's some benefits in terms of communication and networking and everything, but at the end of the day, I think it's mostly been a disaster, and especially for young people, and the idea that you can learn anything worthwhile over a screen on a snow day when you could learn so much more about what it actually means to be a kid outside is to be just beyond stupid.
No, that interaction with other people, it's just invaluable. I mean, you see it everywhere today. I couldn't agree with you more. It's, my children, if I had young children today, they would be out in that snowstorm. I would tell you, I put a cardboard cutout maybe of them in front of that computer.
Exactly.
They would be playing hooky.
Yeah, exactly. No, I there's no replacement for it. That's some of the best memories we have, and just getting the kids out there, enjoying it, making the city a place that's vibrant. Because there's nothing more vibrant than seeing kids playing, whether it's in the snow or in the summertime. There's nothing better. We got to see more of it. We'll be back in a little bit with more with Anthony Coghill.
Listen to The Marty Griffin Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm with Rocco Florio from Air Pro Heating and Cooling.
With winter's grip in full force, it's time to consider replacing your old, inefficient heating and cooling system. Air Pro and Bryant's low-cost plans fit your budget. Furnace replacements for as low as $65 a month, 0% financing. Furnace and AC systems for as low as $130 a month. 10-year warranty on parts, 5 years on labor.
You can't afford not to call Air Pro Heating and Cooling for the lowest prices, longest warranties, and 0% financing. Air Pro, locally owned, locally known.
Look, cancer is evil. I mean that. Lost my sis, Barb. I lost one of my best friends, Jeff. However, I got to say this. I'm alive. They saved my life at UPMC. And new data suggests that 70% of folks that get cancer live 5 years plus. It's a miracle. We got to have hope. We got to have faith in the doctors and the greatness and the kindness at UPMC. Life-saving, life-changing information.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
I'm Mark Solinger, producer and one of the hosts of The Moth podcast. For nearly 2 decades, The Moth has brought live storytelling to stages around the world and to millions of listeners. These are real people telling true stories from their lives. Stories about a lost family recipe, about working to free a wrongfully convicted man, about realizing you need to leave your May-December romance. Stories that will move you, surprise you, make you laugh. Stories you can't forget. Join us. Follow and listen to The Moth wherever you get your podcasts.
Y108 presents Odyssey, The Night Before, powered by Bowser Chevrolet, starring Jason Aldean.
Hey, what's up, Pittsburgh? I'm Jason Aldean.
Wednesday, April 22nd, inside the Event Center at Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. You can't buy a ticket to this show. You can only win your way in. Details at y108.com. Brought to you by Broken Bow Records. Must be 21 plus.
Ryan Shalaba here from the Home Buyers of Pittsburgh. More than 1,000 local homeowners have trusted us to sell their home the simple way. No hassles or fees, just a fair and easy sale. Visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057 for a cash offer today. That's 412-500-9057.
Heat up with some great savings at Coons Market. Isn't that right, Frank Dentisi?
Right, Rob. In our meat department, family pack fresh whole chicken wings, $1.99 a pound, and fresh pasteurized lump crab meat, 1 pound cans, $12.99 each. In the produce department, sweet Northwest pears are $1.29 a pound, and fresh blueberries, 1 pint package, 2 for $6. In our bakery department, fudge ice brownies, 8-count package, $6 each. In our deli department, golden brown chicken tenders, $6.99 a pound, and Cooper's sharp American cheese is $6.99 a pound. Additional savings this week. Selected varieties of Chobani Greek yogurt, 4.5 to 6.7 ounce containers, 5 for $5. and selected varieties of collagen broth, 32-ounce containers, $1.99 each.
So warm up with some great savings at Coons Market. Coons Market, a special place in your neighborhood. Coons Market. How do you find the one nearest you? Click on coonsmarket.com. Coons Market, a Pittsburgh tradition.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive, and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
And now for a business news update from the Pittsburgh Business Times. I'm managing editor Mike Larson. The Bedford House is now open on the south side. The restaurant is backed by general manager Charles Nikula, former cook, whose local work includes time at Belozzi's and the Capitol Grill. After cooking at a restaurant in California, personal reasons brought him back to Pittsburgh, which led him to taking over the 51 South 12th Street at Bedford Square, across from the Southside Market House. The restaurant will be open Wednesday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Also, a little more than a week after a new RH store opened on Walnut Street in Shadyside, the Strip District is poised for the city's next upscale furniture store. Design Within Reach, or DWR, a dealer of upscale furniture and local customers have only been able to shop for online until now, is opening its first Pittsburgh store at 1600 Smallman today. The new store is 8,000 square feet and is the last remaining tenant to the open at 1600 Smallman, the headquarters of publicly traded self-driving automation company Aurora Innovation, with Design Within Reach joining Orr's Jewelers, which opened late last year, and Balverna, a popular Argentinian restaurant. For more on these stories and other local business news, log on to PittsburghBusinessTimes.com. I'm Mike Larson.
He's live, he's local, he's Marty Griffin. 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Hey, welcome back. This is Brandon McGinley from the Post-Gazette, filling in for Marty this hour. He handed me the mic, and, well, it's up to you guys whether you think it worked out or not.
Yeah, baby.
But I still have Anthony Coghill from Pittsburgh South Hill, city councilman, and we know we've solved the problem of the plowing long term because we figured out that the UPMC and everyone's going to pay for it. If everyone can get their act together. But what about in the short term? We have a nearly not unprecedented but a very unusual situation. We got about a foot of snow, and now it's going to be below freezing for at least 2 weeks. So it's not going anywhere. What do you see as the challenge now for the city dealing with snow that's not going to melt?
Okay, so let me start by correcting you. We have over 18 inches of snow in my district. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the plows come down the street, which they've done a phenomenal job. Yep. I felt the leadership there. Everything was really good. Get their streets clear. There's still a lot of back roads we got to do. That's number one. Getting the back streets, side streets, so our public safety responders can get to work.
Mm-hmm.
Second biggest problem for me is when those plows go down the street, it has now formed 4 or 5 foot high ice barricades, basically, between people's driveways and the main roads, just for them to get out on. Not to mention their car is completely buried.
That was me last night. Yeah. I went out, I thought it'd be 30 minutes. It took me over 2 hours to dig out 2 cars. And even then, one of them, I'm still not sure can get out.
Right. So that's the next challenge, right? And again, the temperatures, as you stated, have not been cooperating because this snow is not going to go anywhere. Typically, the best thing we could have is that big fireball in the sky and 35 degrees, and then it's very treatable and it's very manageable. Yeah. But being that this snow is not, this ice and this snow that's been built up isn't going anywhere for, looks like weeks at this point.
Yes, weeks, at least.
Which is the toughest problem. So the mayor has declared a state of emergency. He's got 50-plus contractors out there now, starting with the business districts and downtown, little bobcats and dump trucks. We have to move it now.
Yeah.
So because there's nowhere to put it.
Right. Yeah. You literally have to pick up the snow and dump it because Mother Nature's not going to do her job. Yeah.
That's right. So that's the biggest challenge right now.
Yeah.
Finishing the other streets, which, again, once we don't get to them for 1 or 2 days, which was almost impossible to do, considering the amount of snowfall we had. But what happens is they become hard, compact, and icy.
Yeah.
So plows are almost ineffective on these streets as well.
Right.
You got to dump a ton of salt on them, and just get by, and hopefully that sun comes out.
Now, I have a salt question for you, which I wasn't planning on asking. But I know that some salt is ineffective below 20, 25 degrees, and we are going to be below 20, 25 degrees. Do we have the salt that will be effective at these temperatures?
I would have that answer for you. I used to be the chairman of Public Works. I am in public safety now, but that's a good question.
Because I had heard... Yeah. I'd heard that under Peduto, there was a policy that we'd never buy the cheap salt because even though it was cheaper, if you run into a situation like this, it's ineffective. But I will say that what I see out there looks like rock salt.
Yep.
And rock salt is not great when it's super cold.
I agree. You're probably correct. I don't know the amounts or the supplies that we have in each.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, rock salt still gives you traction.
Yes. I was thinking
that. It
may
not melt it as quickly, but, I always say we don't want to save money on salt. We want to gauge it, make sure we don't run out, but we don't want to save money on salt. So dump salt all over these icy roads because that's what they are. They're ice now at this point. Some of the back roads that we didn't get to initially. So main roads, I feel like we did a fantastic job on. Roads coming up and into our neighborhoods, fantastic job.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of side streets that need done, and it's the ice barricades that have formed through all the plowing.
I know there's lots of places in the city where the plows haven't gotten to, where the snow has built up again, where there've been piles of snow that have fallen into the streets. I understand that. I know from my experience, it has been we saw so many more public works vehicles during this storm than we saw during a storm half its size in December. So that's what I've seen in the neighborhood you represent. And but I also know that it's there's a lot of streets out there.
Yeah.
But so it sounds like though we now are literally having to pick up the snow and just carry it out with front loaders.
That's correct.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to put it. As you know, a lot of these streets are skinny, tight, cars all over the place. The plows can't. They could plow it off the street, but they can't plow it off the barricade that they create.
Right.
So it needs to be physically removed by these contractors. We don't have the resources to remove all.
I hope everybody is used to seeing the snow because you're gonna have to really get used to it over the next 2 weeks or so. Unfortunately, it's going to go from white and pristine to exhaust coated and ugly, and that's when it's going to get really unfortunate. But and hopefully there won't be much more to come. Marty, thanks for handing me the mic this hour.
Wow, you guys are good, man.
We've had many conversations in the past.
I can tell.
No, this is fun. I really appreciate it. And
hey, we got Mike McCarthy coming up live next.
Right.
Are you cool with this? I'm cool with him. Aren't you?
Oh, yeah. No, I can't wait. I love the hometown guy, Greenfield guy. Yeah, I love it.
Same here. We wish him the best. Brandon, you're the man. He will be back. So will Anthony. Peace out.
It's the little things. The information you need. People you know. The little things that make a big difference. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for mom.
Hi, it's Brian Quaranta, host of On the Money, every Saturday morning, 8 to 9 a.m. on KDKA Radio. Retirement planning doesn't have to be stressful. Each week on our radio show, On the Money, I'll guide you through topics like building retirement income plan, minimizing taxes, and protecting your hard-earned savings. Join me this Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on KDKA Radio. Let's make your retirement plan as simple and stress-free as possible. That's On the Money, where retirement planning meets peace of mind.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Honey, that flu keeping you up?
Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this. Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
KDKA and KDKA-FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
All right, here we go. So we are flying around just a little bit at the start of the show, a little bit different beginning to all this. Let me tell you this, NASCO Roofing instant access to all our shows, just a click away. So email us, instantaccess@kdkradio.com. I'm Colin Dunlap coming to you a couple minutes early, and here's why. Mike McCarthy press conference, introductory press conference will happen in short order. And this one not on the south side like the last two introductory press conferences for Steeler coaches. Some of you may not have been alive when that happened. This one at the stadium, because it can accommodate a lot more people, and there's a lot more requests for people to be down there. So KDKA, KDKARadio.com, our YouTube page, all our social media platforms, we will carry it live. Trevin is producing today, and Trevin has his eyes on the camera, which is fixed to the podium right now. And whenever Coach McCarthy, we will be announced as Coach McCarthy in short order, when he steps to the podium, we will throw to that. When the weather turns bad, go ahead and turn to KDKRadio.com, up-to-the-minute news, weather, traffic information, KDK Radio Storm Center. We're using that now. It's all brought to you by Duquesne Light Company, larger than light, only on the voice of Pittsburgh, 101.1 FM, AM 1020, KDKA. Mike McCarthy has entered the room on the North Shore. They are walking to the podium now. Trevin, are we ready to throw there? Let's go.
We will have Art Rooney, our team president, make some opening comments. Then we'll pass it over to Coach Mike McCarthy. At that point in time, after he is done, we'll open it up for questions. Please say your name and affiliation, and my team will get the microphone to you. Art?
All right, good afternoon. Thanks, everybody, for being with us on this special occasion. It may be irrelevant to some of you, but I like the fact that today is my grandfather's birthday, and he would have loved the fact that we're hiring a guy from Greenfield to be our coach. So, but having said that, him being from Greenfield had little to do with our decision here. It's really great to be able to hire somebody who has such a tremendous winning track record and won everywhere he's been, and so it gives us great confidence to welcome Mike. And so I am happy to introduce Mike McCarthy, the next head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Art. I think I thought at least be able to get started. Oftentimes coaches and players, you put on new team colors, and it takes a minute to feel comfortable in those new colors. But to be blessed beyond any measure, one day to put on the colors you wore since you brought home. I apologize. Brett, I told you not to sit my family down here in front. This is so unfair. When you come home from Mercy Hospital, I do want to thank Art Rooney, Omar Khan, Dan Rooney, and the entire Steelers organization for the trust they placed in me to represent one of the most storied franchises in all of sports. I understand and embrace the responsibility, the privilege, and the weight that comes with this stewardship. This city, this franchise, this fan base means the world to me because Pittsburgh's my world, and it's just awesome to be back here. I do want to thank two men I'm very fortunate to call friends, Mike Tomlin and Bill Cowher. They've represented this organization with such class, and I'm honored to follow in their footsteps. They left the proverbial cupboard full, for sure. My family, my loves, my wife Jessica, kids Alex and Danny, Jack, George, Gabby, and Izzy, my parents, Joe and Ellen McCarthy, my sisters, Kelly, Ellen, and Colleen, and the crew that's here. we can finally openly wear our Steeler swag. So let's get it. My heart is full. My focus is singular, and it's time to bring another championship back to this great city. And with that, I just want to make sure that when we do get that trophy, that the 7th trophy in the case, we'll start that victory parade at 1137 Greenfoot Avenue. So with that, Bert.
All right. If you guys want to raise your hand, we'll pass the mics over.
Mike, Jerry Dulac from the Post-Gazette. Did you think and want to get back into coaching? And we've seen other guys take that year off and get back. What did last year or the year off do for you, show you, anything like that?
Well, the year off was awesome. Really family. I had a chance to take a year off in 19, and frankly, I really didn't take the year off. I just, we had a group of coaches, friends mainly, that we really treated it like a season. We started in February, and still today there's projects that I never really got to in Dallas. So I mean, it was a football deep dive on a lot of things. It was awesome. I loved it. Just to do it at that pace and do it with the people that I did experience that with. But this year was about family. I spent a lot of time with the family through the spring volleyball games, all that stuff. It was, I don't know why I'm so emotional, but great year. I had a great year. So. And then I was able to do some cool things, too. I mean, the Pat McAfee show was awesome. Just to see that side of the world, have more respect for you now, Jerry, than I ever have, just because, I just see how hard you guys work. But, no, it was just a very fulfilling year. And frankly, went too fast because once football season gets in, really once training camp hits, we all have that clock, so to be able to start have conversations and watch certain things. I just didn't do as much this past year as I did, back in 19. But it was really cool to, step back and look at the trends. I think our game's so much about trends. I'm just always amazed when you look at a season, whether you're following game management, you're following fundamentals. If you see the ball kicked out at the 1 yard line in one game, and it's amazing. 3 more happen in the next 3 weeks. So I just always have followed the trends because I think our game's about trends, and it is our responsibility as coaches to make sure we're constantly teaching and reinforcing and finding new examples for that. So it was a great year.
Just for media, too, when you're asked a question, raise your hand so they can see in the crowd where you're coming from. Go ahead.
Mike, Tim Benz over here from Trib Live. Question, just a football one for you. I'm not asking this from any other perspective except your own personal preference. In your best case scenario, do you want Aaron Rodgers back as your quarterback next year?
That's nice the way he asked that, right? That was slick. But I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But I think just like anything, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, I think when players, to see Mel Blount here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress. I think that's very important. The game is so emotional, what these men commit to and what they put into it. I think that time away is important, and I have spoken to Aaron, and so that's really where we are there. But I was able to sit back and watch the games. I watched most of the Pittsburgh games on TV, and I thought he was a great asset for the team.
Next over there.
Rich Walsh, KDKA-TV. Mike, credentials aside, did you feel like you had to sell yourself in that interview? And was there any answer or story that you told that maybe helped get you the job?
Well,
share with us?
I think, every time you had a chance to interview, I've always enjoyed the interview process. Frankly, you have, was on 3 this year, had a number in 19, and really didn't have many before that, frankly. I think anytime, coaches and players have a chance to talk football, sit down and cross the table and, have a chance to sit down and talk to Art Rooney, about the game, the history, especially growing up here and being a huge Steeler fan as a kid and understand. I mean, it's a great opportunity. So I'm filibustering here because I'm trying to think of a good story to give you, but I don't think there was one that knocked it out of the park. But no, I just I enjoyed those conversations, and I know this no different than I would think in any industry. You look for fit. I'm in the process of putting together a coaching staff, and there's so many outstanding coaches out there that I respect. but it has to fit together, So I did feel very comfortable, from the moment that I was able to sit down with Art and Omar, and that's a connection. I know where I am in my life and in my career. The GM head coach relationship's critical, and I couldn't be paired with a better guy.
Bo Marchant with College to Pro. Michael, this question's for you.
Yeah. I got him. Yep.
This question's for you. In terms of absent of being a Pittsburgh guy yourself, but when you looked at the roster specifically, what attracted you most to the roster, and what are you happiest with in terms of the roster?
Oh, I mean, I love the roster, and I think it's Omar's turn to talk here, but I think it's a roster that, is fluid. And what I mean by that, the first thing I always look for, I know in my head coaching years, how many players do we have returning on contract? Or we had 52, we had 61, 64, because frankly, I mean, the draft's really important. Veteran free agency is important. But that group of men in these off-season programs, particularly just being older, being in the league, that time you have together, those men will move the needle more, in my opinion, more than anybody else. And it's a great group of men, just based off the feedback that, we all talk to each other. And so I'm really looking forward to moving the needle with those guys. And definitely we'll add through free agency, we'll add through the draft. But, it's like I said, Mike Tomlin, and Omar, they've left me a lot to work with. So I feel good about the direction. I'm really excited about the defense. Great seeing Alex here, because defense wins championships, and, the history of the Steelers defense and staying with the 3-4 is important, as far as the origin of it. And that's something we have to build off. I've been a head coach 18 years. I've had one top 5 defense, and we won a Super Bowl that year. So the importance of defense is critical.
Mike, Brooke Pryor, ESPN. The last 3 guys that had this job were in it for 19 years, 15 years, 23 years. You're a little bit more advanced in your career than they were when they took over, but how long do you see yourself continuing to coach? What do you kind of view this timeline as?
Well, I think we're going to shift the dog years, number one. So it shouldn't be funny in your first press conference. That backfired on me last time. But so, no, I think really, I mean, Coach Noel, growing up in the 70s, I just, when I got into coaching, that's when you look at someone you like to emulate. And what Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin have done here, trust me, I have great respect for that. But I really am. I mean, hell, I can't even get through the press conference. I'm looking forward to getting started tomorrow. And, and this game is about winning, and the game has changed. My first year in the NFL was 1993. And the rules have changed. The way you train your team has changed. So those are things I'm focused on. I hope it lasts a very long time.
Mike, Teresa Varley from Steelers.com. Mike, I wanted to ask you, what was that like after you got the phone call from the Steelers to be able to call your parents and share that news with them?
No, it's not fair, Teresa. Yes, no, it was a great phone call. I couldn't get through the introduction, so I think you know how that went. So.
Hey, Mike, Will Graves with the AP. Why did you still want to coach? What is it about this profession, that certainly you have great credentials, you have coached a good long time. Some guys don't come back at 62. Not that that's old not as old as it used to be, but what keeps you coming back? What made you want to get back into coaching? I mean,
I love coaching. I think the biggest thing is the interaction every day with the players, the coaches, the support group. I mean, to line up every single day and to work and to do hard stuff, with people that are committed. I mean, there's nothing like it. And, I've had a chance to step away and look at other things. There's nothing like the National Football League, and to do it at the highest level, it's something that, I'm not ready to walk away from, and to have this opportunity, it just seemed like it was meant to be, on so many different levels. But Sundays are incredible, but Tuesdays, game plan days, is still one of my favorite days. So there's so many little things about the coaching profession that I love. But the fact of getting up every day, grabbing that cup of coffee, and hitting it, getting it, and it's all about winning. So I'm just fortunate that I had the opportunity to do it again.
Mike Pursuta, DVE. Your history is offense. Your reputation's offense. Your numbers support that. what has been transferable from one stop to the next? Why do you keep getting production and getting the most out of quarterbacks?
Well, I mean, the quarterback opportunity, I think it's important. When you become a head coach, you big part of why you got that first opportunity was, the position you coached through your background and so forth. So I've been super blessed to work with unbelievable group of quarterbacks, the Hall of Famers. Paul Hackett was my mentor. Paul taught me the quarterback position. Started at University of Pittsburgh over there in 1989. So just had great mentorship, through my younger years. But in that that follows through. A little harder to coach the quarterback today than it was in pre-2011. But that position is no different than any other position. The quarterback position to me is a huge challenge because you don't have the individual time that the other positions have. So, but really finding time, being efficient with your workload capacity and making sure those guys get the fundamental training. So just never really deviating from the old school way, and it has worked for decades.
Mike, Ashley Leotis here with WTA Channel 4 here in Pittsburgh. The playoff win drought has been a big topic of conversation here the last few years. When you look back at the last 10 years, what would you do differently? What do you think the biggest change needs to be right now moving forward into this era with you?
Honestly, I don't think you can really look at it that way. Every season's different. Every team you coach is a bit different. Your beliefs and, your standards and the culture you're trying to create, you're trying to move that forward. The most important thing about playoff football is staying in the playoffs. We're not trying to get to the playoffs and doing the things to stay in the playoffs. Playoff footballs are the hardest games to win each and every year. I mean, if earlier we talked about trends. I think that, the trends of the fourth quarter changes is something that, I know I've been watching, the momentum shifts and so forth, because, in a lot of ways, when I look at the training of the team, especially the way the off-season programs is orchestrated, you almost have to re-engineer how you want your team to train. And what I'm talking about is you need to put more time and energy into the end of the game, because you look at the playoffs, because it's about winning the championship. It's not about getting to the playoffs and winning one game. It's about bringing the trophy home, and that'll always be the goal. So I think the trends of the playoff football. I think there's been one game this year that didn't come down to the last series in the whole playoff outcome, and that trend has been in place for years. So there's not too many games in the playoff that does not come down to the 2-minute drill. And then, as I already stated, the fourth quarter momentum swings this year have been at a record pace. So that's what I pay attention to, and because we all have the same amount of time to train the team. The players, have the same amount of time to put it into when we're able to work as a team. But where are you spending that time? So that's really my approach to how I would attack the playoffs.
Mike, Jeremy Scott from WESA here in Pittsburgh. There's the legend of the unopened Iron City can that was passed along from Coach Knoll to Coach Cower, then from Coach Cower to Coach Tomlin. Did you get that can?
Well, I really haven't had a chance to, get to the office yet. So, but yeah, I'll let you know. So.
Mike, Mark Cabali, Steelers correspondent for the Pat McAfee Show. You've had great success over the years developing quarterbacks, but you're taking over an organization here who wants to win now. How do you balance winning now and finding that next franchise quarterback?
Well, I think you're always developing the quarterback, and I've been blessed to have great starters, particularly the last one, the Dak Prescott, Aaron and Green Bay Brett, but we've always approached it as the quarterback room, and because that second quarterback, a third quarterback, they need to emulate the starter, because that starter is dictating the rhythm and the timing and the precision with the perimeter guys. So I'm excited where I'm going with this. I'm really excited about Will Howard. I think he's someone that I thought he really came on there at Ohio State. I'm anxious to work with him. So it'd be great to have Aaron back, but Will and Mason, I'm really excited to get started with those guys.
Mike, Chris Adamski, Tribune Review, TribleLive.com. Do you plan on calling the plays, and what's your timetable for offensive coordinator or any coaching staff? And are those going to be people that you're familiar with from their past or around the league?
Yeah, definitely. I will call the plays on offense, and so that obviously will run the offense. But these coaching staff, it's a bigger challenge each and every year. And I just think there's more moving parts to it. But it's been very fluid the last 48 hours. So.
Alan Saunders from Pittsburgh Sports Now. I'd like to ask Omar and Art, a lot of the candidates you interviewed were younger coaches, defensive backgrounds. Did you come into this thinking that was maybe something you were going to do? And what was it about Mike that changed your mind maybe or stood out to you compared to some of those younger defensive guys?
We came into this wanting to hire the best coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we did not say, we're trying to hire a young defensive coordinator or, offensive guy. We had an open mind about it, I think, and really just, like I said, we wanted to make sure we found the best coach, and, we were able to interview some great coaches. So I won't say it was an easy decision, but I would say at the end of the day, it was an obvious decision for us that Mike was the guy for the job.
Yeah, just to echo what Art said. We were very open-minded going into this and interviewed really an awesome group of candidates. And, I think Mike's resume speaks for itself. Learned a lot through the process, but we're excited Mike McCarthy's the head coach.
Missy Matthews, Steelers.com. Coach, this is for you and Omar. You guys crossed paths with the Saints many years ago. Short period of time. Is it surreal to be sitting next to each other in the capacity that you are today? And what do you remember about each other back then?
Let me go first.
Yeah, in case you say something stupid.
It's hard to believe it. That was 25 years ago. But I grew up a big Saints fan. So for me, that year was really special because that was the first year that the Saints ever won a playoff game. Mike was the offensive coordinator, and it was an unbelievable year, and it was exciting, not only as someone that worked in the National Football League, but just as a fan growing up. But, we had some good times, but what do I remember the most is just the hard work we put in. I remember the attention to detail that this man to my right used to put into everything he did, and that still resonates with me today. But it was a good year, good experience, and can't believe it's been 25 years.
It's gone fast, and I just, I always remember the first impression of Omar. You get hired, and just things are going 100 mile an hour, and it was my first time being a coordinator, and Omar had worked down in the personnel department and worked with the cap, and Jim Haslett had asked if I want him to work with us on offense, and it was awesome. I think it opened his eyes up to what coaches and players really put into it. And, and I always admire, you can see right away he's going to be successful, very bright, hardworking, and, and I think we just have always been connected since then.
Hey, Mike, Jeff Hathorn with The Fan and KDKA Radio. You mentioned defense wins championships. You've got a lot of defensive guys up here. What is your defensive philosophy, and what are you looking for on that side of the ball from a coaching standpoint?
Well, I mean, as we build the staff, I mean, we definitely want to build off what's in place here. I mean, just as a whole, with this being the third organization that I've walked into the first day, I don't believe in the throw out the baby with the bathwater method. I believe in building off what's in place, and there's a lot here in place. I mean, the defense is system has been here since 1992. Came here with Coach Cowher and Don Capers. So always been a fan of it. Always felt it was the toughest one to compete against as an offensive coach. Part of the reason why I went to it in Green Bay. So, those are the things we're focused on right now. We're putting the staff together, but, ideally we want to keep the language the same. So I think, those are big decisions when you come in here, because when you got something that works the way it's worked here for so long, I think you should try to do everything you can to build off that, if possible.
Mike, Jenna Harner, WPXI. In an interview you did in Dallas a few years back, you said family first, family and football, and you coach your team that way. What does that look like, and why is that so important to you?
Well, I think just like anything, it's how you're raised, I think it just, just the basics, treat people the way you want to be treated. I think respect goes a long ways. And I think it always starts with the locker room, because that locker room is a family. And everything we do, everything that we do that touches the locker room is to me the primary focus every day. I think that's how you win. You win every day. Those men are making the sacrifices. Those guys are performers, and when they cross the white lines, we got to feel that we've given them everything to be successful. So it's really keeping the light on the locker room, which is the family.
Shelby Casassi with WPXI. What qualities are most important to you as you form your coaching staff underneath you?
Oh, I mean, a number of them. I think, I have a philosophy of how to structure one. I think there's 4 areas that I've looked at. Number one, you got to have experts. You have that men that know the league. This league evolves. You definitely want to be on the front end of the cycle. You want to be on the back end. So that's important to have the expertise and experience at a certain level. I think it's important to look at the current coaching staff in place. A lot of good coaches that were here in place under Mike, and you have to take that into consideration, because that's part of the fit and ability to move forward and make them part of it. If you feel like it fits. And the third one is you got to look at some of the young and new ideas out there that would fit the direction that you want to go with your team. So, and then you got to have them young dudes. You got to have the guys that grind. You got to have the grinders that are going to be there. And frankly, they came up the way Omar and I did. We didn't have the resources back then that you have today in computers. So, you slept in the office back then. You did those things. I'm not looking for that now because of the resources you do have. But so staying true to that, that methodology is how I've done it. And at the end of the day, it has to fit together.
Mike DeFabo with The Athletic. Mike, you bring a reputation of offensive football. I'm curious, just how would you describe your philosophy on offense, and how has that evolved over time?
Well, I'm a believer in the tradition of the West Coast offense, and the first thing that always came to mind was the offense needs to be built to make the quarterback successful, for as simplistic as it is. And that starts with running the football. I mean, you got to run the football, because if you don't run the football and you don't, tailor your protection schemes in the action pass game to the run game, obviously it's not going to affect the defense and have the benefits of what you're looking for. So, and then, in the way the quarterback's coached in that system, you want a more athletic player in that position, the man that can extend plays and play to the rhythm, timing, spacing, and all the things that go into to an offensive system. So, but at the end of the day, you'll never hear me say this, because I would never say we run the West Coast offense. If your system of football cannot take in every player that Omar and Art want to bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers, then you need to take a look at your system. So, we need to make sure we can accommodate, the variety of players that are available to us.
You more?
This one's for Omar, and then a follow-up for Mike. Omar, Mike's had an extensive time working with the quarterbacks. How much did that play a factor in bringing him on to be the head coach? Because I know, you've been making it a priority to find a long-term option at quarterback. And then, Mike, how has the quarterback position evolved, and what have you learned over the time of working all the way back with Joe Montana, but then also recently with Dak Prescott?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'd say, look, with everybody we talk to, the conversation of developing the next the next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers was part of it. I think Mike's resume speaks for itself, who he's been around. But we're excited about working with Will, and that was a part of it.
Quarterback play, I think the obvious is the role changes, their ability to run. They're running. The quarterback runs. The called quarterback runs is probably the biggest thing that's changed in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and obviously, the rules, protecting them and making it possible. I mean, just the way you play defense. You got a 7-gap run scheme now. It has an 8th element to it, because the quarterback can pull the ball. No different in the 8-gap, 9-gap scheme. So I mean, I think that is the biggest evolution that I think is obvious to all of us. But at the end of the day, to win these big games that are being played, in January, they still got to make throws from the pocket, and that's why the belief and the footwork and the training and all those things that goes into it. But yeah, the running quarterback is the biggest change that I've seen.
Hey, Mike, Brian Batko from the Post-Gazette. I just wanted to ask you, I mean, what can you share about what these last 72 hours have been like for you? How much of it's been, whether it's returning calls and texts to family and friends or planning the next steps, draft process, pre-draft wise? What can you pull back the curtain for us on these few days?
I think the two words that jump to the front are overwhelming and surreal. The opportunity of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the overwhelming response that's occurred. I mean, I've received probably twice as many, at least, text messages and calls than I did when we won the Super Bowl. It's been overwhelming. So, but the last 48, 72 hours have been about the staff. So I mean, it's just been nonstop because trying to make it fit together and there's it's more difficult to put a staff together today than it was 6 years ago and definitely 20 years ago. So
2 more, then we'll have some photo opportunities.
Mike, Ray Fittipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. When do you need to have an answer from Aaron by? And then second part of the question is, you took this year off. What's your first thoughts on this year's quarterback class coming out of college?
That's probably a better question for Omar. Just because I'm just getting started on the draft process, and we'll dive in that, frankly, once we get past this coaching staff development. But yeah, timelines we haven't discussed that yet.
Nick Faribaugh, Penn Live. Mike, your system has had lots of star receivers, guys like Jordy Nelson, CeeDee Lamb. As you look at the current state of your wide receivers and your weaponry, adding in the tight end and running back room, what stands out about it to you, and do you maybe need to add new types of receivers to fit what you want to do schematically?
Well, I just think like any coach, I mean, you're supposed to look at what you have and you look at the opportunity to develop. And, as far as the receiver position as a whole, we were at our best in Green Bay. The Jordy Nelson era is because all those guys work so well together. And, this game's about matchups. Your ability to put, your third receiver on the third corner or the third, and hopefully that's a favorable matchup, or move those guys around. And, you want your receivers to be able to play all 3 positions, because when you can have the flexibility of that goes back to the first statement about making a quarterback successful, because the quarterbacks are trained in conceptual, in conceptual development of how you throw the football, so that helps you with their footwork training. Because but if you got 900 plays just to beat every defense or beat every, that's very difficult on a quarterback. So if you truly want to play to the rhythm and time of the quarterback, your perimeter guys being able to play multiple positions is very important. So that'll be our approach with these guys, and I'm looking forward to getting started with them.
All right, thank you, guys.
There we are. That's Mike McCarthy, introductory press conference. We'll come back. Your thoughts on that. We talk about so much more. First, let's hit news right now with Paul Alexander.
From the Aetna Medicare studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Cloudy and 14 degrees a little after 2:30. I'm Paul Alexander. Imagine seeing autonomous robots plowing our streets in future snowstorms. Audrey Russo, the CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, wants to make that dream a reality. She tells Rob Pratt on KDKA Radio that robotics could go a long way in helping the city weather the storm.
You can now get a little robot and put a plow and, make it go up and down your driveway. The question is, can we take it to scale? Can we take something like that and take it to scale and go down Forbes Avenue all the way, through Oakland and be able to do that continuously? And I think we're up to the task.
Russo says she plans on meeting with Mayor O'Connor next month to talk about ways to make this happen. Pennsylvania Turnpike officials tested a new super plow this weekend to tackle heavy snow and ice, and gives an update on how it performed. Here's News Radio KDKA's Tamira Rush.
Turnpike spokeswoman Marissa Urbanic tells KDKA Radio the new equipment had the perfect opportunity to be put into action to help clear highways during Sunday's snowstorm.
And it successfully cleared over 300 miles during this last storm over the weekend. So it was very efficient.
I asked Urbanic if there are plans to extend the use of the Super Plow across more stretches of the turnpike or even on city or county roads.
So it will remain on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We're just hoping that we can really utilize it in all different locations and conditions to really test out the efficiency.
She says the Super Plow was tested in Somerset County because of its heavy snowfall and could be moved to other areas for future storms. But for now, only one is in service. Tamira Rush, News Radio KDKA.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 448 points. The NASDAQ up 239. The S&P 500 is up 33 points. KDKA Radio News Time, 2:33. Our next update at 3. I'm Paul Alexander on the Voice of Pittsburgh News Radio, KDKA.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Are you looking for a job in the new year? Avoid the AI filter, which is inflexible and unmoving.
It can't correct itself because it's working off of its system.
Rick Cobb of the workplace consulting firm 2Discern says work your professional network because face-to-face communication is the artificial intelligence workaround.
Humans can change their minds all the time. And one of the ways people change their mind is when they meet somebody.
I'm Rob Hart.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit information kit. 800-384-9393. That's 800-384-9393.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
Hey, it's Andrew Filipponi. Guys, the best thing I did in 2025 was get a new garage floor from Comer and Cross. It completely transformed my garage. It's given me new space in a new room in my house. I can't believe I waited as long as I did to get in touch with the great people at Comer and Cross. But hey, better late than never. And right now, they've got their preseason sale going on. Comer and Cross, you're going to get a phenomenal price, and they're going to install it when you want it on your terms. They make it so simple. It's cold outside. They're going to take all the stuff out of the garage for you and secure it so you don't have to do it yourself. They fix all the cracks perfectly. And the best part is all of this gets done, and I know from personal experience, in one day. So go with the pros at Comer and Cross. They don't subcontract out. Call them now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR and lock in your preseason price and installation when you want it. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, 800-NEW-FLOOR, or go to COMERcross.com.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred roofing replacement contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Little snow and flurries the rest of the afternoon. There could be a fresh coating to an inch and some slippery spots. High 17. Bone-chilling cold tonight. Down to 5 below. Frigid tomorrow and Thursday. Highs only in low teens at best. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Why deal with crowded hotels and packed pools when you can have the whole place to yourself? At SWAC Vacation Rentals, some homes come with private lazy rivers, indoor pools, massive game rooms, and outdoor kitchens built for the whole crew. These aren't hotel rooms, they're private vacation playgrounds, managed by us, cared for by us, and ready when you arrive. And when you book direct, you keep more of your vacation budget where it belongs, with you. Find your unforgettable stay at SWAC. SWACKvacations.com. That's SWACKvacations.com.
Warm up your home this winter with a brand new roof from Home Genius Exteriors. Call now and get 50% off all roofing materials plus 0% APR and no payments till 2027. And for a limited time, you can get free attic insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors now at 855-UR-GENIUS for your free, no obligation roof and attic inspection. That's 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. Home Genius Exteriors, the genius choice in roofing. See website for details.
You are invited this Saturday at noon with the sweet sounds of lunch with Dorothy's as Nan Cohen welcomes the folks from Dorothy's Candies. In the second half of the show, it's dealing with divorce. Jam-packed show this Saturday at noon with your host, Nan Cohen.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Get it? With the Times.
With the Times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hi, this is Larry Richard. Join us tomorrow in the Big K Morning Show, 5:30 until 10. We'll have the KDKA Radio Storm Center open, dealing with extreme temperatures and the dig out, plus what Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy had to say.
I'll tell you what he had to say. You just heard a bunch of it right here on KDK. Actually, you heard the whole thing. And one of the things that really made you, I think, perhaps jump back was, well, this.
All right, here we go. Thank you, Art. I think I thought at least be able to get started. Oftentimes coaches and players, you put on new team colors, and it takes a minute to feel comfortable in those new colors. But to be blessed beyond any measure, one day to put on the colors you wore since you brought home. I apologize.
Man, I'll tell you what. Is it okay to just be human, at least for today? Is it okay to not worry about this offense, this win, that win, who the quarterback's going to be, who the offensive coordinator's going to be? I don't give one heck who wants to criticize the hire or scream about this or that or talk about Shula or Shellhaus or this guy or that guy. At 2 o'clock, just past 2 o'clock, right here on KDK Radio, I heard that probably the same as you did. When Mike McCarthy got choked up at the beginning of that news conference, and that was the very beginning of the news conference, and through a cracked voice went on to say, Pittsburgh is my world, which he said just after that. That was a wonderful moment. And put aside who you wanted to get the job if it wasn't him. Can we just be happy for a day? I know I can. And I don't tell people what to do, so you act how you want. But I sat there and I said, as with any endeavor, it's okay to root for the good guy who gets the job that he's wanted all his life. By all accounts, Mike McCarthy, exceedingly good guy. By all accounts, the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching job, the job that he's wanted his whole life. Nobody knows how it's going to turn out. It may be great. It may be dismal. He may get to start that Super Bowl parade, as he put it, at 1137 Greenfield Avenue and march all the way to Point State Park or wherever. He may get 1 year and bomb and be done. Who knows? But for this span of time, for the 27th day of January 2026, what I saw and what I heard was not one piece of inauthenticity. There was a guy who loves this town, loves its people because he is one of them, loves this franchise that he followed his whole life and still has followed, loves everything about it, and understands just how big football is to Western Pennsylvania. And now he gets to do the same job that Chuck Noll did when he was a little kid. And then Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin that he mentioned he's great friends with. We can get into schematics, and people will talk about signing this quarterback and drafting this guy and that guy in an ever-important draft because it's going to be right here in Pittsburgh. But for just this small snippet of time, I look at it and I say, it's kind of like your neighbor, but he just happens to be a really good football coach. And he's the Steelers coach now. I'm okay to feel good about that. You see, as I get a little older in life, maybe I get softer. I don't know. But I don't necessarily live and die with every single result. And if you've ever done what I've done for a living, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I lived through a time in journalism where you spent a lot of time in locker rooms. You spent a lot of time with athletes. You covered them, and you really covered them. You didn't just sit in a radio studio and talk about them or write columns off TV. You went into locker rooms. You saw the human side of them. You saw them with their families. You talked to them about things that weren't sports. And I was lucky to understand that life and have carried it with me to that day. And it's also applicable, I think, in times like these. You don't have to, or at least I'm not, be someone who is worried about all the other stuff today. I at least leave it here. And we get into it as you get into St. Vincent and then into the games proper, certainly. But for today, I look at it as this. One guy who is an ultra good guy, who everybody says great things about, and he's one of us, got the dream job leading the team that seemingly all of us root for. Seems okay to smile. Seems okay to root for him. Seems okay, at least in my world, to pull for him and want him to do well. It feels all right, and it actually feels like the right thing to do to get behind him. At least that's where I position it in my world. When he got choked up, you can't fake that. Full steam ahead with Mike McCarthy. It may work out. It may not. But for today, at least, I thought he was perfect. 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. Listen for The Drive at 5. Stories driving the news every single day at 5. It's all brought to you by ServiceMaster Greater Pittsburgh. Demand the yellow van.
Selling your home shouldn't be stressful or take months to do. At Home Buyers of Pittsburgh, you skip the showings and repairs and get right to the closing table. For a quick, fair cash offer, visit homebuyersoftpittsburgh.com or call 412-500-9057. That's 412-500-9057.
The KDKA radio text line is driven by Kenny Ross Auto Group. Find your best deal and Pittsburgh's best warranty at kennyross.com.
What is life-changing medicine? The discovery of cancer at the earliest possible stage, challenging limits and transforming the impossible into reality, or connecting people to doctors and specialists when they need it most. At UPMC, we believe life-changing medicine is all those things. Our goal is to change the world of medicine and the lives of those around us. UPMC, changing healthcare, changing lives. Life-changing medicine.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too. Newsmax has been terrific.
President Trump is right. Millions like you are tuning into Newsmax. You're watching Newsmax on cable. You're going to our streaming channel, Newsmax 2. And you're downloading our free Newsmax app on your smartphones and TVs. Reuters Institute says we're now one of the top news brands in the nation. Every night, watch great shows with Rob Schmidt, Carl Higbie, Rob Finnerty, and more as they expose the big media lies, the Washington swamp, and they're never afraid to talk about faith, freedom, and the values that made us great. Find out why Newsmax is the fastest-growing news channel in America. Make the switch today and join our news revolution. Get Newsmax on cable, on streaming, and download the free app today. It takes just seconds to start. Let President Trump know you stand with Newsmax. It's for real news, for real people. Make the switch today.
With multiple Tri-State Neuropathy Centers treatment locations throughout the region, relief from peripheral neuropathy has never been more accessible and successful. Here's Sean Ritchie, founder and DC of Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, with one of his stories from helping over 15,000 patients regain their comfort, mobility, and quality of life.
James from Youngwood suffered for 10 years. He had all the symptoms of neuropathy, the numbness, the pain, the burning, the stabbing. He even had these jumpy legs at night. It was destroying his life, and he had to quit his job. After going through our non-invasive treatment program, we were able to get him pain-free, sleeping again. In fact, he told me he went hunting this year and was able to do it without any problem.
Tri-State Neuropathy Centers help James. Let them help you next. Call 724-940-9000 for an initial free consultation. That's 724-940-9000. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy. Learn more at marydanston.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, America's largest family law firm. During this time of year, difficult relationships sometimes become impossible. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell consult. The Cordell consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. CordellCordell.com.
Pittsburgh and Cranberry Township. Joseph Cordell. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois only.
Larry Richard for CertaPro Painters. I've been a customer for over a decade. Why? Because the professional work CertaPro Painters does protects your home, quality paint, worry-free process, free estimates. That's why I've relied on CertaPro Painters. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated right here in our community. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. When choosing a painting professional, the choice is simple. Choose happy. Choose CertaPro Painters.
Amazon plans to close its fresh supermarkets and Go convenience marts while converting some locations into Whole Food stores. The closures are part of an effort to prioritize investments, noting it still plans to roll out other brick-and-mortar concepts, including a, quote, mass physical store format, end quote. The housing market is seeing some serious headwinds. Data from Redfin showed that more than 40,000 signed home purchase agreements were canceled in December. That represents over 16% of all homes going under contract. A year ago, that number was 14.9%. Redfin says higher housing costs and rising inventory has homebuyers more selective. UPS beat Wall Street estimates for quarterly results in an all-important holiday period and forecast a surprise in rising annual revenue as a pivot towards higher margin shipments is paying off. But package delivery giant says also that it would cut 30,000 operational jobs as it winds down its Amazon partnership. I'm Dan Loney on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
If you're thinking it, he's saying it. Colin Dunlap on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Jeff Hathorn was in that room. He'll join us deep in the 5 o'clock hour. Pretty much the end of the show. So we'll talk to him via phone. We'll do that. As always, you can listen to us 100.1 FM AM 1020 KDKA. That Odyssey app, AUDACY. You can also watch us online. KDK's video stream. It's all presented by Metropolitan Window Company. Just go to KDKRadio.com and click on Watch KDK Radio's live stream. Now you can check out our YouTube page, which is how I enjoy all the shows here. That's our YouTube page. Watch everything we're doing in studio. 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. Couple things from the McCarthy press conference, and I don't want to belabor this because there's a lot to get into, including my snow removal take at the top of the hour. But two things that jumped out at me. One, I think there's a real chance that Will Howard is the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. Or as Mike McCarthy said, Will Hard, and we all knew who he was talking about, number 18 of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's spelled Hahhrd. Will Hard. And also, one thing that really jumped out at me, in true Pittsburgh fashion and perfectly acceptable in Western Pennsylvania, Mike McCarthy comfortably blended 100 mph into one word. He said 100 mile an hour. And we all knew what he was talking about. He said the world is going 100 mile an hour. And not one of us did not know what he was saying. I found that fantastic. Anyhow, what did the man in charge of the franchise say?
You know, we came into this wanting to hire the best coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we did not say, you know, we're trying to hire a young defensive coordinator or, you know, offensive guy. We had an open mind about it, I think, and really just, like I said, want to make sure we found the best coach, and we were able to interview some great coaches. So I won't say it was an easy decision, but I would say at the end of the day it was an obvious decision for us that Mike was the guy for the job.
The authenticity of all of it was what struck me most, honestly. And again, we'll talk to Jeff about all this in just a little while. I knew he'd be authentic. I didn't realize it would turn out to be like a couple of guys at the Thompson Club just talking about football. And that's kind of what this news conference felt like. Like McCarthy was there at Duke's in Homestead or the Thompson Club just talking about football. That made me smile. It just did. Or at Pickles, which I don't think is open anymore. But anyhow, 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. What's your takeaway from Mike McCarthy? Certainly the proof will be in the pudding. How's the bread buttered? Yada, yada, yada. All that kind of stuff. Does he win football games? But I think on a very snowy, dreary, awful kind of day, and it may even snow some more, although the sun is out just a little bit, it was the exact shot of adrenaline that I needed. I don't know about you. Oh, I will say this, speaking of the snow. There is a 100% chance. Now, I'm not saying 99.9 or 98.5 or anything like that. There is a 100% chance. If it snows 1 to 2 inches, like they're saying it might, or an inch or so overnight or whatever, it is not getting cleaned up by me. Snow removal out. I'm done with it. And I dealt with so much over the past 72 hours, I'm going to leave it lay. I'm going to take my chances. I'll be okay. 1 inch of snow when there's no snow seems like 3 inches of snow. 1 inch of snow when there's just been 15 seems at most like a dusting. I'm not touching it. I am shoveled out. Done, finish, kaput. It's just not happening. The threshold might even be about 2.5 inches to where I might even think about acting. It's laying there. It just is. Again, 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. Top of the hour. I do want to talk about what's going on in the city because, you know what? I think that some people have it all wrong. And technology has skewed our mind, skewed our brain, and the ease in which we do so many other things has made us try to make it applicable to snow removal. Anyway, I'll get into that in just a little bit. Another big question for McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, definitely. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. But, I think just like anything, knowing Aaron long enough, going through seasons, I think when players, to see Mel Blount here, I mean, when guys are up at that stage of their career, they need to step away and decompress. I think that's very important. The game is so emotional, what these men commit to and what they put into it. I think that time away is important, and I have spoken to Aaron, and so that's really where we are there. But I was able to sit back and watch the games. I watched most of the Pittsburgh games on TV, and I thought he was a great asset for the team.
Oh, they talked. That's the news there. They talked. So there's a chance is what I take from all of this. All right, top of the hour, into snow removal, the big topic in Pittsburgh. And then why is the governor talking about things maybe he shouldn't be talking about? We'll get into that. But first, demand the yellow van. Service Master Greater Pittsburgh. When disaster strikes, you demand that yellow van. Freezing temperatures across western Pennsylvania, they mean one thing. Frozen and busted pipes. They're a real risk. Homes and businesses, right? When a pipe breaks, the damage, it can spread fast. Flooding, ruined walls, mold, costly downtime. Service Master Greater Pittsburgh, they got you covered. 24/7, 365 residential and commercial water damage. Those emergencies, well, they'll screw you up. Service Master Greater Pittsburgh will clean up the mess, get your property back to normal and fast. Numbers easy to remember. 412-RECOVER. That's 412-RECOVER. Demand the yellow van. Service Master, Greater Pittsburgh.
When you need to know, depend on the news leader. At home, in your car, or at work. The voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM, AM 1020, and KDKA-radio.com. Hearing the news every day is one thing. Hearing it hit home is something altogether different. That's the difference you hear every day on KDKA Radio. We go beyond the benign headlines and bring the news to life. Your life. So stay here and hear the news and what a difference it makes. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
You know, this is one of those topics that no one really wants to think about, but if you're a parent, a homeowner, married, or helping take care of aging parents, it's something that honestly deserves a little attention. I'm talking about estate planning. And before you tune out thinking it's complicated or expensive, that's actually why I want to mention Trust and Will. Trust and Will makes estate planning feel way less intimidating than it sounds. They offer modern, attorney-designed wills and trusts that you can create online. And the process is surprisingly straightforward. In fact, you can create a will in as little as 30 minutes. That includes things like guardianship for your kids or pets, how your assets are distributed, and even healthcare directives. Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will, the most trusted name in online estate planning. Go to trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. That's trustandwill.com/plan for 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA. Covered by JP Roofing and Siding. Pittsburgh's #1 platinum roofing company.
File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then they help you do more with it. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
So, the best food in this area is in Oakmont right now. The Lot at Edgewater, the Pub at 333, Hofstadt's, Michael A's, Vinny's Tavern, and the place that started it all, Carnivores. I'm telling you, folks, I've eaten at all of them, and my man JK, the Oakmont Restaurant King, delivers nothing but the best. Oakmont, the best food, the best community. Check it out.
The Village at St. Barnabas, the perfect place for moms.
SchultzFord.com, 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 SchultzFord.com.
KDKA and KDKA FM HD2 Pittsburgh. W261AX Pittsburgh.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Mostly cloudy and 14 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 3 o'clock. I'm Paul Alexander. News brought to you by PJ Fitzpatrick. Need a new roof or just want to repair a small leak? Trust PJ.com. President Trump is shaking up his immigration crackdown in Minneapolis. Multiple sources tell CBS News that Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino has been reassigned to his regular job along the U.S.-Mexico border. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem is also facing scrutiny. CBS News has learned that she is expected to keep her job, but her focus is expected to shift from interior enforcement to securing the southern border and other priorities. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro talked with CBS this morning, and some of these changes, he says, aren't enough.
This mission is broken. It must be terminated. I've not heard the president say, just because Bovino is out or Noem is out, we're going to stop pulling people over because they have an accent. We're going to stop violating people's constitutional rights. We're going to stop engaging in tactics that do not comport with typical and responsible policing practice. They've said none of that.
Senator John Fetterman wants President Trump to fire Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem. The Democratic senator posting on X that Noem is betraying DHS's core mission and trashing the president's border security legacy. Fetterman's post ends by saying, "Do not make the mistake President Biden made by not firing a grossly incompetent DHS secretary." Imagine seeing autonomous robots plowing those streets that still need to be plowed. Audrey Russo, the CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council, wants to make that dream a reality. She tells Rob Pratt on KDKA that robotics could go a long way helping the city weather storms.
You can now get a little robot and put a plow and, make it go up and down your driveway. The question is, can we take it to scale? Can we take something like that and take it to scale and go down Forbes Avenue all the way, through Oakland and be able to do that continuously? And I think we're up to the task.
Rissa says she plans to sit down and meet with Mayor O'Connor to talk about that very concept. With dangerously cold temperatures settling in across Pittsburgh, fire officials are urging residents to use extra caution when trying to stay warm indoors. News Radio KDKA's Tamira Rush has details.
Pittsburgh Fire Chief Dr. Daryl Jones says space heaters can pose a serious fire risk if they're not used properly. And he's reminding people of a few simple steps that could prevent a deadly fire.
Try not to plug them into extension cords. It's best if you can just plug it directly into a wall socket. Make sure it is clear of any combustible products, your window dressings, furniture, clothing, anything like that.
Chief Jones says the most important thing is to always follow the manufacturer's instructions and to make sure you're using the right type of heater for the space you're trying to warm. Tamira Rush, News Radio KDKA.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 413 points, the NASDAQ up 233, the S&P 500 is up 34 points. KDKA Sports, shortly after 2 o'clock today, right here on KDKA Radio. We heard Mike McCarthy introduced as the Steelers' fourth head coach since 1969. It was a rough start as McCarthy had to fight back tears after being named the head coach of the franchise he grew up rooting for. The Greenfield native won a Super Bowl against his beloved Steelers as the head coach of the Packers. His last stop was Dallas, where he had 3 12-win seasons in 8 years. He's 62 years old, and he said Pittsburgh was his world, and it's an honor to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I want to thank Art Rooney, Omar Khan, Dan Rooney, and the entire Steelers organization for the trust they placed in me to represent one of the most storied franchises in all of sports. I understand and embrace the responsibility, the privilege, and the weight that comes with this stewardship.
It'll be a very busy time for Mike McCarthy, who has to assemble a coaching staff and get ready for the draft, which is right here in Pittsburgh in April. I'm Paul Alexander on the Voice of Pittsburgh News Radio, KDKA.
Welcome to guided meditation. Close your eyes. You're at the beach. The seagulls are calling. You take out your iPhone 16e you got from Cricket and use Apple Intelligence to clean up that selfie you just took. It's a good one. You send it to your friends instantly thanks to reliable nationwide 5G. They're totally jealous. Get iPhone 16e for $49.99 when you switch. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new line on the Supreme Unlimited plan. First service charge and tax due at sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
From the P.J. Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Traffic Center, KDK AAA Traffic, powered by Bowser Chevrolet. It's Trevin.
An accident reported 2834 Banksville Avenue in Pittsburgh. We'll keep an eye on that. Expect slow traffic at the Liberty Tunnel as well as at the Fort Pitt and Squirrel Hill tunnels at this time. Slow moving in both directions. Route 28 and 279 north are moving pretty good. With AAA Traffic, I'm Trevin on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
The KDKA AccuWeather forecast is brought to you by JP Roofing and Siding, Pittsburgh's #1 Platinum Preferred Roofing Replacement Contractor. Call 412-829-7711.
Brisk and bitterly cold into this evening. A little bit of snow and flurries, a fresh coating to an inch. The high 17, bitterly cold tonight, down to 5 below zero. Still frigid tomorrow, high 10, and it stays cold Thursday up to 13. For AccuWeather, I'm John Feerick, 100.1 FM and AM 1020, KDKA.
Attention Pittsburgh area residents. If you have Medicaid and need help with activities of basic living, Freedom Care can make it easy. With Freedom Care, the person who cares for you can be someone you love, your family, your friend, or a trusted neighbor. They can assist you with meals, bathing, eating, mobility, and more, and Medicaid pays them for your care. You stay in the home you love, surrounded by the people you choose, and it's 100% free to you. Don't wait. Call Freedom Care now. Call 412-981-1620. With Freedom Care, you get the care you need and your loved one gets paid instantly after every shift. Feel better, heal better, and live better at home with Freedom Care. Call 412-981-1620 or visit freedomcare.com today. That's 412-981-1620. Again, 412-981-1620. 412-981-1620.
Freedom Care, we're here for you. Build your team, build it sooner. Need your match on ZipRecruiter.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. All your roles, fill them sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
It's Colin Dunlap on the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
All right, so a bunch of trucks are broken down in the city that have the duty of cleaning up the snow. I guess that's a big story. Okay? Just as much as, I guess Marty's saying that the snow, they haven't been down streets for 4 days. Well, just quit snowing like a day and a half ago. I don't know about 4 days. But anyway, I saw Anthony Coghill in here. And he's a city council member. And I was telling him this. And let me equate it to something. First of all, the trucks being down that's from past administrations not paying enough attention to it. I'm not trying to take up for Corey O'Connor, but it's just, that's the truth of it. Because people didn't pay attention to the stuff you needed to pay attention to for decades. Right? But let me let you in on something. It is a state of emergency right now. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I want to talk at 866-391-1020. We get these videos, and people are sending to Marty's site, which I compel you to go to KDKA-radio.com, by the way. But people are sending these videos and these photos. Oh, I live in an alley in Bloomfield. Oh, I live on the south side slopes. First of all, nobody makes you live there. Second of all, it has been like this for generations. But here's the biggest point in all of this. Technology making other things faster in life has warped our ability to understand some things can't be done faster. I tell this to my kids all the time, and I'll give you one example, and this is it. So you can press a button and go on Amazon Prime, okay? Go on Prime or whatever. You could order whatever you want. Dietary supplements, steak knives, a new shirt, whatever. And it comes in the mail the next day. Right to your porch. I mean, quick. You used to have to get in your car, go to the store, figure out a time, make sure the store is open. Heck, you could shop at 1 a.m. on your phone. That has warped us into thinking everything can be done expeditiously like that. You can go to the bank machine, ATM, take money out. You used to have to stand in line and get to the bank before 4 o'clock. Take actual cash out. Heck, you don't even have to go to the ATM anymore. You hit a couple buttons on your phone and you move funds over. And you never see the real cash or even deal with that at all. We've lost the value of currency, right? Those are a couple examples. But I tell my kids this. Hey, listen, you know when you unload the dishwasher? And they go, yeah. I said, That's been the same since 1960-something, whenever dishwashers became in vogue, or 70s. They said, what do you mean? I said, you pull the shelf out of the dishwasher, you grab the cup or plate or silverware, and you got to put it up in the shelf or in the drawer. That process has not changed one bit. A lot of things around it have changed in the kitchen. Coffee makers have gotten faster. The oven's a little bit different. The food you're eating can be cooked in a microwave. Way different and quicker. There are USB cords where there used to just be plugs right there above the dishwasher. Boom, and that thing gets charged quick and your phone is there. Unloading that dishwasher, same as it always was. Pull the drawer open, coffee mugs get lifted up by your hands and put into that cabinet. That's how you got unloaded. That's the same way I had to unload it when I was a little kid. We didn't even have a dishwasher, but you know what I mean. If I went over a rich friend's house and they had one. So there's that. To snow removal. We live in a Rust Belt city. It's an emergency. These streets, these alleys, it's narrow. Trucks don't get smaller. The roads don't get wider. It is what it is. They get up there, they try their best, they get it figured out, and they remove the snow and go from the main roads to the secondary roads to the tertiary roads or whatever. That's the way it's always been. But because things in the periphery have gotten faster, quicker, you can communicate via text message, and everything swirling around has become more expeditious. We can't live with some processes that have remained the same. You explain to me at 866-391-1020 how to pick up the snow faster. I'll warm to it if there's a process in which that can happen. Part of it is the infrastructure, part of it is the equipment of the city is broken down. I get it. But even if working full bore, full tilt, you still need to manually drive that truck on those narrow streets, get them there, and it's 15 inches of snow plus. We haven't seen that in 16 years. So while some people, and maybe even some people with a microphone, want to be an audience for every Jim, Joe, Dick, and Harry out there crowing about this, I'll listen a little bit. But I'm not going to be this big bleeding heart for you, considering we're under a state of emergency, and some processes just take time. That's the way that it works. 866-391-1020. That's 866-391-1020. Also want to get into something our governor said and wonder, should he be talking like this? There's all of that. But what of the snow removal? After you think about it, does it fit what I just said? From the P.J. Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Traffic Center, KDKA AAA Traffic, powered by Bowser Chevrolet.
Unfortunately, a number of accidents reported. I reported earlier the 2834 Banksville Avenue in Pittsburgh accident. There are two more, Bloomfield Bridge and Bigelow Boulevard in Pittsburgh, as well as Grandview Avenue and P.J. McCardle Roadway, also in Pittsburgh. Stay alert as you're driving around in those areas. Meanwhile, at the tunnels, it's slow traffic at Liberty Tunnel in both directions. Fort Pitt and Squirrel Hill Tunnel are slow to moderate. And on Route 28 and 279 North are moving pretty good. With AAA Traffic, I'm Trevin on 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Listen to Colin Dunlap on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Whether it's due to job loss, a divorce, a new business venture, or you just didn't file your taxes, don't lose hope. Powerful relief programs are now available that can help you and may reduce or even eliminate what you owe the IRS. With the cost of living affecting millions across the country, Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying anyone with $5, $50, or even $500,000 in back taxes to the IRS to call to get relief options. With over 1,000 five-star Google reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, TRA is America's trusted choice for real tax relief. Relief options are now available that can give you a fresh start and peace of mind. End your tax nightmare today by calling our tax relief hotline. Dial 800-390-8432. 800-390-8432. That's 800-390-8432. Or visit TRA.com. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Lamont is on the clock. Join Lamont to hear draft experiences from famous football greats. On March 31st, Lamont welcomes Kevin and Dan Colbert and Joey Porter Sr. and Jr. Proceeds benefit St. Anthony School programs and the Jasmine Nairi campus. Visit LamontPittsburgh.com/upcoming for tickets.
We have this window, and it needs replaced. And I'm sitting here because I've been talking to the folks at Windows Direct, and they've got this deal right now. You buy 4 windows, you get 4 free. And check this out. You get $1,000 off your entire project and 0% interest for 60 months. You can spread out the payments, 60 months interest free, $1,000 off. And all you got to say is, I love my windows. 412-545-6003. 412-545-6003. 6003 Universal Windows Direct.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Reacting to the stories you're talking about. Colin Dunlap, 100.1 FM and AM 1020. KDKA.
Here we are, 866-391-1020, 866-391-1020. Woo! What a day. I'm excited. Listen for The Drive at 5. Stories driving the news every single day at 5. It's all brought to you by ServiceMaster Greater Pittsburgh. Demand the yellow van. I feel good. I feel like I'm floating on a cloud today. And I don't take, you know what? I thought about this today driving into work. I don't take any substances that alter anything anymore. I don't drink beer or hard stuff. I don't smoke any or take any gummies, nothing. And it's not like I'm beating my chest about it. I'm full on natural, which is crazy. High on life, I guess, is the best way to put it. Crazy to think. Jeff Hathorn in that 5 o'clock hour, he was in the news conference. You heard his question, asked a really good question for Mike McCarthy. Steelers coach Mike McCarthy, still a little interesting to say. And we'll talk to Jeff coming up in that 5 o'clock hour. So much between now and then. We definitely will talk about the governor and what he had to say. First, we talk to Derek in the truck, not Derek Trucks. Hi, Derek.
Hey, how you doing, Colin? Hey, I live in the city, and I'm on my way back in for a shift to a private landscape company. And I started at 9 Saturday night. I didn't get done till 11:30 last night. And finally got some sleep. But this snow is so dense. Like Sunday night, I was servicing something near my house, but I live on a city street. And I had a hard time just in four-wheel drive and a plow truck to get onto my street and into my driveway. Luckily, I was able to plow my driveway and get into my driveway. But just to get onto my street, it was tough. And, we're working long shifts out there just in the private sector. So I could only imagine the city. But my point is my taxes I pay are just as much as my state tax for the city. And where the money's going, it's just so mismanaged. It's ridiculous.
Well, you're not wrong about that. The fleet should have been taken care of. There should have been a greater onus on that. Unfortunately, you have a mayor in the past, in Ed Gainey, that decided to dump a bunch of money into rerouting streets, putting those white pillars up, changing crosswalks, the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure, which was asinine. Every single dollar pretty much to that should have been put into the fleet. And I'm not here to take up for Corey O'Connor. I'm not. But he just inherited this a little bit ago, Derek.
You're right. You know what? I'm a registered independent, but people got to wise up, and they keep voting Democrat in this city, and this is what you get. Because you know what? I work out of Gibsonia. Butler's relatively Republican. You see the streets cleared. You see private companies. The Democrats just run stuff into the hole, and that's all the Democratic cities, too. You notice this in Democratic cities. I'm fed up with all the taxes.
Well, listen to this. You can attest to this because of what you do and where you're located. I live in Hampton Township, okay? I don't even know who Republican, Democrat. It's pretty split, actually, the people that are in office in Hampton. I drive down. I can tell you exactly which road is state maintained, county maintained, and then my municipal. My municipal ones, I could serve dinner off it. The state and the county ones are a little better, actually. The state ones are deplorable. It's just the way it is in the bang for your buck when you pay taxes, Derek, and I'm sure you see it when you're driving around up there.
Right. I live on a city street, and I next to Reserve and Ross. The Reserve and Ross streets, to get onto my street, I had to back up onto a Reserve Street, which was clear, and had to do 4 tries. Like I said, I was in a plow truck and 4-wheel drive. It took me 4 tries to get onto my street.
Wild stuff. It just is. But again, I think sometimes we discount the fact we got 15 inches of snow. It's an emergency. And also, our brains are skewed by the fact that everything in life can be done more expeditiously than it was 20 years ago, except for a few things. You want to cook a steak. It still kind of takes that long on 400 or on the grill to heat up to 165 internal temperature. Can't fudge that. Can't make that go faster. That's what it is. I tell my kids, like I said, all the time, you want to unload that dishwasher, there's no other way to do it. You got to reach down, get those forks, put them in a drawer. That stinks. That's tedious work. Same way it was when I was a little kid. Plowing streets, there's no other way. But everything else we do in life, we've grown accustomed to it getting faster. And this just isn't. And we get real jammed up about it. Jake's in Brentwood. Hi, Jake.
Hey, Colin, good afternoon. I heard you talking about the mobility people in the city. They are some of the dumbest people. Before it was Kim Lucas, she was a joke. Bill Peduto started that office, I believe, in 2018. I believe he started that office.
They all ride bikes, and they think that we want to ride bikes all over the place.
Do you remember the scooter program, the spin scooters that were here?
Yeah, and then a couple people fell, and a couple people busted their nuggets on it, and then it got abandoned because they were leaving them everywhere, and it was the dumbest thing in the history of the world.
Every major city, if you go to them, they have them. But anyway, the city spent so much money for that company. They built all the underground charging stations, and if you go past, they're still there. They spent millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' dollars on something that we're not even using.
Do this. Do me a favor. And I know, Jake, you go around the city, you're all over the place. Drive down Penn Avenue and drive in front of Harp and Fiddle and on a clear day when there's no snow, and tell me it's not visually absolutely confusing what they've done with painting the street, putting up these white posts, and changing all these lanes. I feel like I'm driving into some sort of test where I'm supposed to be tested as to where I'm supposed to drive, because I got no idea.
I just got pulled over in front of Eddie Marlowe's. I made that right down, 6th Street. I didn't know that it's a bus lane now. I'm 37 years old. For 37 years, it's been a regular road.
Every dollar spent on that was nonsense. Every single dollar. And look, I don't care that it's $500,000 or $750,000 or even a couple million. every dollar of that should have been spent on making sure that the trucks work that can clean up your snow. 866-391-1020. 866-391-1020. We're off to a rip-roaring start. I love it. We'll talk to Jeff Hathorn a little later on. A story from Tamira caught my ear today because I think we got bamboozled. From a state standpoint, we got bamboozled. We just did. I'll continue to talk about this snow removal, and Mr. Governor said something that put my antenna up a little bit. We got news, bottom of the hour, KDK.
Italian subs for your finance team at Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, it's Andrew Filipponi. Guys, the best thing I did in 2025 was get a new garage floor from Comer and Cross. It completely transformed my garage. It's given me new space in a new room in my house. I can't believe I waited as long as I did to get in touch with the great people at Comer and Cross. But hey, better late than never. And right now, they've got their preseason sale going on. Comer and Cross, you're going to get a phenomenal price, and they're going to install it when you want it on your terms. They make it so simple. It's cold outside. They're going to take all the stuff out of the garage for you and secure it so you don't have to do it yourself. They fix all the cracks perfectly. And the best part is all of this gets done, and I know from personal experience, in one day. So go with the pros at Comer and Cross. They don't subcontract out. Call them now at 1-800-NEW-FLOOR and lock in your preseason price and installation when you want it. That's 1-800-NEW-FLOOR, 800-NEW-FLOOR, or go to COMERcross.com.
Injured? Call the expert personal injury attorneys at Shenderovich & Fishman. They handle all types of injury cases. Their fee is only 25%, not 40% like other law firms. They're smart, aggressive, experienced, and have a 99.7% success rate. They win for you. Car accidents, motorcycle wrecks, tractor-trailer crashes, dog bites, any accident, only 25%. Shenderovich & Fishman, 888-98-TWINS. They've got your back, not your wallet.
From the Aetna Medicare Studios.
Proud to be the voice of Pittsburgh. 100.1 FM and AM 1020 KDKA.
Mostly cloudy and 14 degrees at Pittsburgh International at 3:30. I'm Paul Alexander. The Pittsburgh Steelers do not do this very often, but after Mike Tomlin resigned after their playoff loss to the Texans, they were forced to hire a new head coach for just the fourth time since 1969. Jeff Hathorn was there and has more.
Mike McCarthy got his first words as Steelers head coach of "Here we go." And then the tears started welling up with his family in the front row.